Minnesota Vikings 2020 season awards. I know I'm a bit late on doing this, but do not worry, it is here. So, these awards are like Rookie of the Year, MVP, Defensive MVP, just to clear the room if you're wondering what I mean. Okay, Rookie of the Year, of course, Justin Jefferson. I mean, Justin Jefferson is not only the Vikings Rookie of the Year, but should be the NFL Rookie of the Year. Justin Jefferson broke the record, Anquan Bolden's record, with 1,400. That's a great spot to be at 1,400 receiving yards in his rookie debut or his rookie season. He is looking like a stud. He is looking like we just replaced Stephon Diggs with Stephon Diggs. I mean, this is not very often you see in the NFL where you see a win-win scenario in a trade. Usually someone wins more than the other or someone wins and one loses. This is a win-win. I mean, Stephon Diggs is having his best season with Buffalo, and Justin Jefferson is looking like someone. Justin Jefferson costs less, and honestly, at some games looks better. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Cameron Dantzler. I feel like it's pretty easy here. I mean, Cameron Dantzler being a third round draft pick does not have high expectations, but came into that starting cornerback role, that cornerback one, and looks like he doesn't look like a cornerback one yet, but he looks like he should be in a few years. He looks promising. Cameron Dantzler, he's a lengthy guy and he's not built like a cornerback. He's not athletic like some guys are. But once again, if he can do his own, if he can hold his own, Minnesota Vikings should have finally hit on a cornerback. And this does not happen very often because the Vikings are really bad at drafting cornerbacks as of the last 5 seasons where the Minnesota Vikings drafted cornerbacks. But once again, we saw a lot of defensive players play this year. I mean, defensive rookies play this year. We saw, of course, Dantzler. We saw Jeff Gladney. We saw Harrison Hand. And we saw Troy Dye and DJ Wanham. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings saw a lot of rookies play this year, and all of them look good. This looks like one of the best rookie class by the Minnesota Vikings that I've ever seen. I mean, with Justin Jefferson being your first pick, Justin Jefferson is looking like the NFL League MVP and a clear wide receiver one in a few years when Adam Thielen is, you're going to have to move on from Adam Thielen. And then, of course, you have Dantzler and Jeff Gladney, who are looking like a cornerback 1 and 2 duo. And then you have Harrison Hand now. He's like another guy who played a little bit. Harrison Hand, he's whatever. But once again, Troy Dye's looking pretty good. DJ Wanham's looking like he could be a starter in the future. James Lynch even. I mean, you didn't see much of him, but he's looking good as well. This Vikings draft class looks really good. And a lot of these guys are going to be starters in the future. Not to mention Ezra Cleveland as well. There's been a lot of players who have started this year. Anyways, I love to see Cameron Dantzler. Anyways, breakout player of the year, Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson led the team in tackles, in not interceptions. He did lead the league in interceptions. Eric Wilson looked great. Eric Wilson is a player who you have to replace Anthony Barr with, because the way the cap scenario is looking right now, Vikings have to trade away some of these guys. Riley Reiff is a possible trade away player. Of course, you have Kyle Rudolph. You have basically every aging players on the Vikings team except for Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, and Harrison Smith. All the other aging players are looking like the Minnesota Vikings could and should trade them. Eric Wilson, breakout player for the Minnesota Vikings this season. Although Tyler Conklin, you can argue that he was also a breakout player because by the end of the season, he was looking like a star tight end. I mean, he was looking like he could be a tight end 1. Of course, with our tight end group where we have Kyle Rudolph, where we have Irv Smith, he's just a tight end 3 at this point, but he's looking very good. And I'm excited what I see from Tyler Conklin, and they need to give him another contract, a contract extension this offseason. But once again, Eric Wilson, clear starter. I mean, he was the guy who played every game, who was healthy the entire season and holding this defense together. I mean, him and Harrison Smith are the only 2 guys that were actually playing in this defense because this Vikings defense was awful the entire season, through and through. Comeback player of the year, Riley Reiff. Allowing 0 sacks in the season, Riley Reiff had a great season. Now the question is, what do we do with Riley Reiff? Because left tackle is obviously one of the most important positions in the NFL. But at the same time, the Vikings cap scenario is so bad, and Riley Reiff is coming off of his best season of his career. You should trade him, because you have to trade him when he's high. And we have his replacement already in Ezra Cleveland, so I'm in full support of trading Riley Reiff. But of course, the Vikings might need Riley Reiff, but at the same time, I'm in full support of it. We have his replacement. We're in a bad cap spot. We can use that money and get maybe Brendan Sheriff or Joe Thuney, a guard in the offseason. And then at the same time, he is an aging player. He's not going to be here for much longer. Minnesota Vikings should trade Riley Reiff if they can. And I think they will. It would make a lot of sense for the Minnesota Vikings to trade Riley Reiff. MVP for the Minnesota Vikings, of course, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, too, this is the second year in a row where Dalvin Cook got the Minnesota Vikings MVP, and this guy is insane. I mean, one of the best running backs in the league. I would put him at least top 3. I don't think that's very debatable. Saying he's the best is pretty debatable, but top 3 at least. Dalvin Cook is insane. And a lot of it has to do with CJ Ham and all these secret ingredients. I mean, the Vikings offense is very good at blocking. Irv Smith is a great blocker. Kyle Rudolph is a great blocker. Now, our guards are bad, but at the same time, with CJ Ham being a lead blocker, sometimes we saw Garrett Bradbury as a lead blocker. This led to great runs by Dalvin Cook. I was on the fence about the new contract that they gave Dalvin Cook because, of course, he was coming off of a great season, but once again, with his injuries and stuff like that, I didn't know if they should have given him another contract. Wow, have I been proven wrong. Dalvin Cook had an amazing season once again. And then defensive MVP, obviously Harrison Smith, led the team in interceptions. Harrison Smith was the glue that held this Vikings defense together. I mean, this defense was the worst. 27th against the run, 22nd against the pass. This Vikings defense was the worst defense I think I've ever seen by this Vikings in the last 10 years. I mean, this was awful. But Harrison Smith held it together. Eric Kendricks also held it together, but once again, Eric Kendricks did get injured. And then, of course, Eric Wilson. So those three guys are the only pieces on this Vikings defense that we were able to see this season. With Danielle Hunter out, with Michael Pierce opting out of the season, with Anthony Barr getting injured, Mike Hughes getting injured, of course, trading away Yannick Ngakoue after week 4. This was a bad year for the Vikings defense. But once again, I'm excited for some of these guys. I mean, Cameron Dantzler and Jeff Gladney, I am excited as rookies. I'm excited for what to see from them the next few seasons. And again, DJ Wanham, you can add him in there. And then when we have Danielle Hunter back and when we have Pierce back, I think things will be back together. Maybe even bring back Anthony Barr and Eric Hendricks and all of those pieces as well. I think things will be back together. I'm hopeful for this Vikings defense. I'm hopeful. If we can have a healthy defense going into 2021, add a few rookies, maybe make a few big-time trades, I think the Vikings defense will be back together. I'm hopeful in Mike Zimmer and bringing them back together. And, of course, Andre Patterson. I'm a huge Andre Patterson guy. I love Andre Patterson. Let me know what y'all think.